Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, I'm back for another show, and we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Tucker Carlson and his is just lying and got caught. MTG, I want to say MTG. MTG is on Megyn Kelly's show sounding crazier than two left shoes on an eight-legged man. Also, for the first time in history, I think since World War II, that we torpedoed a carrier ship for the first time. We need to talk about this 12-year-old that was assaulted by 3, 12, 13, and 14-year-old boys, which was insane. Before we get to any of that, we have to talk about Jasmine Chicken Fried Steak Crockett, who lost her primary, and that's what she get. Welcome to the Tatum Show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on the day.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Man, that intro sucked, but I got to work on that intro. Doing it live is hard, man, because if you mess up, you just mess up. All right, let's talk about a few things real quick before we get into the show. If you are a member and you missed the show yesterday, you missed a treat. I told the craziest story ever, and it is one of the craziest stories I have ever told to the public. I mean, not really the public, it's just really the members. So here's what you missed. If you remember, roll the clip. I literally thought my security guy had died today.
Okay, well,
I thought he was dead. Dylan called, Joe called, my wife called, I called him. He is dead.
Dead.
He's not answering anybody. So it gets worse.
Okay.
The front desk calls, no answer. I said, there's no way that the front desk is calling and he's not answering the phone. And they go, he's not in his room.
What? What?
Y'all, I'm telling you, that's the craziest story ever. So if you're a member, go ahead and check it out. If you're not a member or you're not a part of the Tatum membership program, just hit the link below. You can join. I think we have a very low barrier of entry. I think it's like $4.99 to enter on the base level. But we're going to build out the membership platform, the biggest and the best on YouTube, I promise you. All right, make sure you follow me on Substack. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at The Officer Tatum. Most of y'all already follow me, so you know what the deal is. Let's get into Jasmine Chicken Fried Steak Crockett. Hair weave bad Crockett. Bad body built Crockett. I'm just throwing it out there. She talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene, big back body built, or whatever she said. Jasmine, I saw you on a video the other day, and you built like a tray lunch. All right. Let's get to the first clip. Jasmine Crockett, she got voted out. She lost her seat. I'm not shocked because she's a nut job. She wasn't qualified to be there anyway. But here's the news clip. Roll it.
Results are in for the first primaries of this year's high-stakes midterm elections, with Texas-sized implications for control of Congress. Four-term Republican incumbent Senator John Cornyn is now headed to a runoff in May with State Attorney General Ken Paxton, with neither candidate winning a majority of the vote. Cornyn casting Paxton as a liability for a series of scandals, from a 2023 impeachment on bribery charges — he was acquitted by the state Senate — to a messy, ongoing public divorce.
I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
Paxton, who's built his credentials through aggressively suing for conservative causes, pushing back.
You listened to what John Cornyn was selling, and you weren't buying it. Tonight, change was on the ballot, and change won.
Whoever prevails in that bruising battle will face Democratic State Representative James Tallarico, who NBC News now projects defeated Representative Jasmine Crockett, as Democrats look to make a play for the traditionally red state, pointing to high turnout.
We are not just trying to win an election. We are trying to fundamentally change our politics, and it's working.
All right, so Jasmine Crockett got outed. You can see that there's a controversy. I wish we would have used that clip in another part, because there's a controversy. We'll get to Paxton and all of that. And I'll say this. If you have a divorce and you're in public office, you need to step down. So you need to take care of your family. I'm just saying this right off the bat. And it's nothing. People hate divorces all the time. God don't like divorce, but people are humans. They make mistakes. They shouldn't have been married to certain people. Some people cheat or whatever the case may be. If you're in public office and you have a divorce that's public and it's all out there, you need to step down and focus on your family. That's all I have to say. Same thing if you're a coach. If you have a divorce, you need to step down, man. Something has gone wrong in your family. Let's continue with Jasmine Crockett. I'm assuming this is another Jasmine Crockett clip. Roll it.
There's a lot of big stories coming out right now out of last night's election, and one of them is going to be the Latino vote in Texas. That's really what propelled James Tallarico over Jasmine Crockett. And Jasmine Crockett is set to likely, this will likely be the end of her political career as we know it. She had to not run in the primary for her House seat, so I imagine you'll see her leftist nonsense all over the news going forward, including her election denialism here. But that Latino vote you see in Texas is going to be a key indicator going not only into the runoff for Republicans, but also into the general election. This is a base that moved quite frequently. You saw a big move in the 2024 election for those Latino voters toward Republicans. And are we going to see that pendulum swing back? With this runoff coming in May, you will see what is going to continue to be one of the most expensive primary in U.S. history. All eyes on Texas.
All right, go back to the clip where you can show Jasmine Crockett crap and that other guy. I told you black people, and y'all don't listen to me because you let these other fools tell you that I'm an Uncle Tom Coon sellout bootlicker. I told you that your vote is going to stop mattering. You should have been having babies and quit going to Planned Parenthood. You should be raising your young boys so they don't end up in prison. You got all of these things that you should have been doing. You should have been voting for candidates that were keeping these illegal aliens out of the country and prioritizing your community. But you didn't, because you hate Donald Trump and you hate the white man so much that you didn't oust yourself out of voting power. This is a perfect example. Black people, you have no more power. It's the Latino now. They are the majority minority. Now what they want will come first. Now what their community needs will come first. The black and brown stuff was a sham. You ignorant folk that didn't listen to me. There's no such thing as black and brown. Black folks should have been standing up for what black folks need in the community. They done hijacked the civil rights movement to add brown, and then the brown is over the black. The black and brown was never about black people. It was really to incorporate brown into the civil rights movement. And now they hijacked your effort and energy to prioritize brown. Same thing with the LGBTQ. Your first black president, who was half-breed, first black president is prioritizing what? The LGBTQ. Hijacked our forefathers who fought to have a vote and have rights in this country, and now it's about Hispanics and gays. That's what you get. Come on. Jasmine Crockett crying herself to sleep after she took a massive L, talking about, we don't know what the result's going to be tonight. No, you did. You know exactly what look at that number. That result came that night. Roll the clip.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do.
Got to do with Republicans.
And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why. So, I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow. So, I love y'all too. Thank you so very much for being here. Love you down. I love you down, Dallas.
I love you down. What did that mean? All right, come on, give her another clip. Roll it.
All Red has already stated, we encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it. So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, stand in line, wait in line.
She claimed that Republicans had anything to do with this. Why the other man ain't say nothing about Republicans? He won. Ain't the confusion didn't confuse his people. Now you lost, sis. I told y'all, I tried to warn you, black folks. You messed up. Now it's too late. You'll never have a vote again. You definitely won't have a vote in Texas. I'm telling you. And Texas has the highest population of black people in the entire country. And y'all just blew it. You kept voting for them Democrats. And look at where you at. Primaried. All right, let's go to Scott Jennings real quick. I think Scott Jennings had a... Is this Scott Jennings? Yeah, Scott Jennings wrote a clip.
By the whole thing with Stephen Colbert. That was a big rocket for him. He had to be a real news nerd to know who he was before then. But that moment where, suddenly, Stephen Colbert, who's obviously a legend among Democrats, says, hey, this kid, Trump and these guys don't want to hear from. I'm going to let you hear from him now. That's when he really, he got $2.5 million, I think, the next day. And it put him on the map. You could see it kind of irritated Jasmine Crockett a little bit that he was getting all this attention because up until then, she was very far ahead. If, in fact, he closes, probably that's the day that started.
Yeah, I definitely think it was true. Like you said, we obviously knew Tallarico. We were covering him, looking at, the kind of personality he was, but it was completely different after that.
Pay for that level.
You can't, which is ironic because it was Jasmine Crockett who before was getting all the sort of, earned media online.
Scott, you look skeptical.
Well, let's just admit it was an op, right? Trump had nothing to do with it. It was CBS's lawyers that had raised internal issues about it. It was a total sort of a hoax about how they positioned it. But I tend to agree.
Details.
I know. I'm glad that's what you think. But I tend to agree.
It was a hoax. They positioned it to get attention to the interview. That's all they did it for. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump. Their own network said that you cannot cover two candidates like that on the network. But they used that to talk about it on the network to lead you to the actual interview. It's marketing 101. And to be honest, the Talavero guy, whatever his name is, he's a much more articulate person, and he can articulate a plan moving forward and not being a ghetto bird. People are sick of that ghetto fake attitude that Jasmine Crockett had, swinging her neck and sister girling every single day while she's on the news, and she's a complete idiot. It only go so far when it comes to how are you articulating to the people about things that matter to them. And that idiot who beat her is one of the Democrats' top candidates in the state of Texas. I'm telling you, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Jasmine Crockett had no chance. She's running against any one of the guys for the position. She has no chance. But also in this kerfuffle, Dan Crenshaw lost. Wrote a clip.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. This is Montgomery County, the Woodlands. Wow. This is the early vote. Again, this is toast-based. I apologize. I've been saying it wrong. I only read these names on paper sometimes. But look at this. A monster margin in the early vote over the incumbent. 28 points. This is toast-based Montgomery. Yep. This is Harris. The other half, he's also leading the early vote there. What that means is 60% of the vote is in this district, and it's a 7,500 vote margin, nearly a 20-point margin for Toth over Crenshaw. Would need to win the same-day vote in the mother of all landslides if he's going to catch Toth at this point. Remember, Crenshaw, the only
Hold on, pause it real quick. Who is that at the bottom of the screen? Tom Cotton versus who? Ashby has 8,000 votes and Tom Cotton had 73,000. Who spent their money on that lady that got whacked like that? That is, he might as well ran unopposed. Y'all should have known better than do something like that. Tom Cotton won by a landslide, which is not that shocking to me. But anyway, wrote a clip.
Looking without Trump's endorsement, incumbent in the House side in Texas, and starting to look like he needed it.
Steve Kornacki delivering the drama.
So I will say this: I wasn't in that race. I don't live in the state of Texas, but I will say that speaks loudly to what people want to happen. If you see Dan Crenshaw go down like that, they must want it the other guy over Dan Crenshaw. I know Dan Crenshaw has lost his reputation amongst a lot of people over the years. Not saying that it was justified or not. I don't know. I don't really watch the political side of the state of Texas because I don't live there. But I want to go back real quick, and I think we could have organized this a little better. I want to go back to the Jasmine Crockett clip. No, the clip of this young man right here. Is that 103? Roll the clip.
Jasmine Crockett lost. Are we even surprised? Come on, Jasmine, you should be happy you got as far as you did. Hey, you trying to run for Senate? Dallas ain't that crazy. Texas ain't that crazy. Dallas, how you let her get that far in the first place? You see how important voting is? Don't let these Nick Fuentes gaslight you with, I'm tired of Trump, so I'm not gonna vote. You see what happens when you don't vote? Black Democrat, not just a Democrat, you get black Democrats winning. Yeah, it don't get worse than that. Don't let Nick Fuentes fool you. He's one of them. He's been one of them. He's been telling you he's a Nick. Yeah, now we starting to see why it says Fuentes. That's the Mexican in you. I can see the saying in you.
Yeah, my vote for the Democrats is a middle finger to the GOP. I don't care. Say what you want. People say that's a dumb idea. I don't care. That's what I'm doing. I've made up my mind. You have pissed me off royally, and that is not what I will do. And if they want to win in 28, you got to find somebody else. I will not vote for Vance. I will not vote for Rubio. They brought us this. You don't want to repeat this in 28? Give me somebody I can vote for. Give me somebody that's America first. Otherwise, give it to the Democrats.
Hold on. Let me interpret that. He said, give me somebody that hate the Jews. That's what he's saying. Marco Rubio is a formidable candidate. Marco Rubio is handling business like a professional. Marco Rubio is presidential. I think he was presidential the whole time. Now he has the spotlight, and he's operating like a real CEO. That's what Marco Rubio is doing. And I like J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance is a good candidate as well. But Marco Rubio is kind of launching ahead of him as far as how he's managing his position. And Nick Fuentes is a dummy, just like the rest of these dummies, and they hate Israel so much that they hate Donald Trump and they hate the Republican Party, and they rather see the country fail than to see any candidate that has a remnant of support of one of our greatest allies. What a nut job. Don't fall for it. Don't believe these fools. There's a difference between America first and America only. There is no such thing as America only. That does not exist. Don't be a troll or don't be foolish. America needs allies all over the world, because if these people are not allied to America, they're going to be allied to China or Russia, and we will not have a country. We will not have trade. We will not have, any kind of representation across the country. We have to partner with good partners in order for us to have leverage over some of these other superpowers that would love to turn this world into a godless, socialist, communist, globalist nation. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on to Megyn Kelly, because I wanted to talk about this. Marjorie Taylor Greene. What happened to her? I want y'all to put this together. You have seen the transition of so many people, and you have to ask yourself, what is the consistency or the consistent nature of these people changing? You have Candace Owens changing. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene changing. Megyn Kelly changing. Tucker Carlson changing. You got Massey and these other nut jobs that are changing. Why are they changing, though? This is not, they didn't just have an epiphany. The same information that's provided to me and others are provided to them as well. But why are they changing? And I'm telling you right now, it's because of it starts with their hatred towards Israel and the Jewish people, and then just matriculate down to every single thing they do is just completely nonsensical. Look at what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying on Megyn Kelly's show, who's also, in my opinion, Megyn Kelly didn't fall off the cliff. Roll it.
It is absolutely America last. It's the same we've seen. What is happening to the man that I supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq?
The war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake.
No more regime change. Promise it on the campaign. A year in, and we're in another war, and we've got American troops being killed. All I can think about is the military-industrial complex. Those guys are lighting up their cigars, drinking their whiskey, and patting each other on the back because all they can think about is how much money they're going to make off the American taxpayers, making bombs, building new aircraft, building new drones, and building all kinds of military equipment.
Time out, bro. I was going to let her finish. She got 50 seconds left to finish. I'm going to let her finish. But then if this is such a bad thing, then Marjorie, why you quit? Marjorie, you were in Congress. Why didn't you let your voice be heard in Congress? Why did you fight for the people that actually raised money to vote for you, to be in there to finish your term? Why did you quit like a traitor? You a quitter. Marjorie Quitter Greene, they call her all kind of stuff. And now, nothing is like a woman scorned. I'm telling you the truth, dude. If you want somebody to stab you in the back with a double-edged sword, you turn a woman or scorn a woman by not giving them an opportunity they think they deserve, by showing that you appreciate another woman greater than you appreciate them. And what do? They will turn on you and try to destroy your life. Do I need to share more examples? This is one of the examples. Let her finish.
Kill people all over the world, while the American people, all they want is to be able to afford a house, afford health insurance, and be able to maybe live the dream like the baby boomers did. They literally are trying to start World War III. It's completely out of control. It will never end.
You know this idea, you break it, you own it? I don't buy that one bit.
And Lindsey Graham, I saw a video of him this morning.
That mothership of terrorism has a hole in it.
He was choking back tears, swallowing back tears, because he was saying he was so proud of President Trump. He wasn't choking back tears for the American military members that have been killed and their families who are mourning their deaths right now. That's not MAGA. That is not MAGA. That's not America first. This isn't what we voted for. It's literally Israel first. Israel first, and then where is it going to stop?
Oh my God, these people are crazy. Why does she have to just say Israel first? Like, for all my sane people that are watching me, how is this Israel first? America, like if you don't understand geopolitics, you don't understand that we are a part of a world that is operating and moving. It's a moving organism. And if we try to act like that in America, we could sit on an island and be isolated from what's going on in the rest of the world, listen, the interests of America, both foreign and domestic, that's what you sign up for when you join the military. It's not just domestic. If you want to deal with domestic affairs, you need to be a police officer or somebody that only fight for the country's interests domestically. We fight as a nation, or our military fights foreign enemies and domestic enemies. So if you see a country like Iran that have killed Americans, carpet bombing them, killing them through proxy wars and these proxy terrorist organizations that are not only affecting us, but they're affecting our allies in the region and affecting all the other allies that want peace. They're bombing the UAE. They're bombing Israel. They're bombing assets all over the Middle East because of America. They hate America. They're to be honest, they're showing what their plot was from the very beginning. They will bomb American assets no matter what. Why don't we cut the head of the snake off so we can have a peaceful environment in the Middle East? And peace in the Middle East is peace to America. You cannot think that you can sit in America and only focus on America and let that start brewing over there. Then once that milk spill over, it's going to waste on you. So you handle it over there so it never comes over here. It's really that simple. Do we have another Marjorie Taylor Greene clip? Let's roll it.
He said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling. He doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promise it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the is happening to this country and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
So you say a couple cuss words, and you I don't know, do makeup and put your hair down, and that's supposed to do something for you. It's ignorant to me. When a president says, I won't start endless wars, she go, well, the war is only going to be a couple more weeks. Well, that's not 20 years. 20-year war versus a couple weeks is different. And things do change while you're in office, and you have to be able to pivot and move for the sake of the safety and security of the United States of America. Sometimes y'all make me wonder, should we even, I ain't gonna say nothing about it. Let me not talk about women and voting. All right, we got Tucker Carlson. We'll talk about him in a minute. But first, I want to jump on to this Tim Walz testimony. That dude, and let me tell you this. Put the girl on the screen. What's her name? Mace. I want to say Nancy Mace. I think it's Nancy Mace. Is it Nancy Mace? I can't get no help from nobody. What's her name? Nancy Mace.
Nancy Mace is correct.
Okay, correct. Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace, I can't stand her sometimes, but she put belt to cheeks in this deposition, or whatever you want to call this, belt to butt cheeks. This dude should be ashamed of himself getting embarrassed this bad. And it's not hard to embarrass him because he's an idiot. But here's Nancy Mace going and ripping him a new one. Tim Walz, in his testimony for misuse of federal funds, wrote a clip.
How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today? Did you do any preparation
I take
for this
Congress
hearing today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me. As
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the head of the
so your excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million was spent in 2024. What percent increase is that from 1 million to 343 million? What percentage increase is that?
I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell me.
Are you governor of Minnesota or not?
Yes, I am. I'm not.
Well,
I'm
when
not
I'm governor of South Carolina, you can sure as hell bet that I'm going to know the math. The math is 34,200% increase, an increase of 343 times what it was in this time period. Do you know the number of children in Minnesota?
I know that Minnesota ranked as a top 3 state for children in the last year.
What is the total population in Minnesota?
5.7 million.
Okay. What is the total population of children in Minnesota?
I don't have the number in front of me right now.
Are you governor of Minnesota?
I know 400,000 were cut out of health care last week by the actions you made.
Are you governor of Minnesota?
I am.
And you don't know the number of children residing in Minnesota?
I don't have the specific numbers.
Now, let me tell you this. When you have facts on your side and you're doing this stuff with reasonableness, you don't have to argue and be emotional. You could just tell the woman, I don't have that with me. I did prepare, but I didn't prepare for the questions that you're asking me. And then you should be able to address when she do bring up these questions. But you get defensive and act a fool because you know you're wrong and you're intentionally trying to avoid answering these questions that are very important, I would argue, to the Minnesota people. What do you mean you don't know that autism cases went up by 300 and some percent? That's crazy, bruh. $1 million, and then in 2017, $1 million, in 2024, $300 million. I mean, if we didn't address these fraudulent occurrences in the next 10 years, what would the number be? $1 trillion? That's something the governor should be paying attention to. He should be briefed on, and he should be addressing. And this is why his sorry self is not running for office again, because he knows he's a crook. Let's go to the next clip. Roll it.
And, you know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you know this, but it's been widely reported that in 2008, when Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had 3 criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him, so he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody who wasn't as smart as him, had less talent and charisma, and wouldn't outshine him, and he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you. The talent pool, Mr. Chairman, hey, Mr. Chairman, the talent pool isn't just shallow, brother. We have hit the shore, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Brother, you're right. I thought that what he said was superfluous until I started really listening to him. I honestly see exactly what he's saying. Joe Biden was nowhere near as charismatic as Barack Obama. Kamala Harris was a dud. And then Tim Walz is even more of a dud than Kamala Harris was. That math is mathing to me. There's more. Roll the clip.
Let me make the connection for you. According to the Secretary of Transportation, 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses were issued illegally. Do you have a video ready to play for me? Can you play it now? This is what happens, Mr. Governor. This is what happens when you issue driver's licenses to people illegally.
He is on the northbound lanes of 61, going the wrong way. You can see I'm going southbound on 61. He's in the northbound lanes on Highway 61.
I'm crossing over there, and thank God, I don't know how much that thing weighs, 60, 80,000 pounds, 60 miles an hour.
18-wheeler.
You can cut the video. He was licensed in your state under a law that you signed that precludes federal officials, your federal partners, as you call them, from determining whether they're here illegally. That guy that was driving that truck couldn't pass the test. He didn't pass the test out on the road. There's another video, I'm not going to play it, but there's another video of a guy here illegally turning a truck like that around in the middle of a highway where people lost their lives because they were decapitated when they went underneath it. That's what happened. So my question for you is, this should be easy. Yep. What are you going to do to rectify the law that you signed that allows people here illegally to get a CDL? That tape was in Missouri, not in your state. Look, if you don't want to protect the people in your state, I guess that's your business and the business of your voters. But that driver was driving in Missouri. And if he'd have hit a bunch of people, quite honestly, to me, you could have been held liable.
Yeah. Well, Congressman, first of all, Minnesota ranks in the top 3 safest states by highway data from your own department.
Highway data?
The data from the Department of Transportation
for
highway safety. We have the 3rd. We want everybody on our roads to be licensed.
So are you saying based on that you're okay?
I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with you or I speeding. I'm not okay with DUIs.
But you signed this law that allows for that. You signed it. And you're going to do nothing about it?
I can't speak to the specific on the CDL. What I can tell you is
I referenced your law. It says House of Representatives, State of Minnesota. And I know there's a lot of words here.
Case. I just know our roads are safer.
Exactly the sections that allow for this to happen and preclude federal enforcement regarding immigration and the illegality of people receiving CDLs under your state's
Driver
provisions.
safety and immigration are 2 separate things. Anybody, had that been a citizen or not, it's still tragic, it's wrong, we shouldn't do it. What I'm telling you is in Minnesota, we have the 3rd safest roads in the country.
So you're good. So you're good with this practice.
I'm not good with that.
Well, what are you good with? Because that's what's happening under your law.
Well, I can't speak to the specific on if it's an outlier. We give license to people who then eventually... People get DUIs after we issue them.
That happened last month. This is March. That happened a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you familiar?
That's wrong. And look,
but you're not going to do anything.
Sure, we're going to do
what
things.
What are you going to do?
Traffic laws against them.
What are we going to do?
Was this person arrested?
I sure hope so.
Well, that's good.
And but he was licensed in your state under your law that you signed about a year and a half ago.
Every day we give licenses and people speed. So we ticket them and try and stop that. What I'm telling you is I don't understand the connection between
He's here illegally. He can't read. And he got a license under your provisions, and he's driving all across the country, imperiling everybody else. That's the connection.
I can't speak.
Thank you.
The data shows Minnesota is one of the safest driving states in the country. I don't know what to tell you.
Hold on. Let me jump in there. I just think all these people are frauds, man. Most of these people in office are frauds, man. That's why, I don't know. Maybe I'll be stressed out and my hair start falling out if I was actually a person as a governor or something, because I would be worried about things like that. I would want to rectify things like that. I would give instructions that there's no way in the world that people who are illegal should be getting CDL driver's license issued in our state. I'm the governor. We'll put an end to it. If I got to sign an executive order, you cannot have that happening. But instead of him making excuses, he could say, yeah, we are the safest, third safest in the country, and I'm going to make sure that we fix that. I'm going to work together with XYZ to make sure that illegal aliens, if you signed whatever legislation, well, we need to go back and clarify the legislation. We're going to work with our state legislators to find a way to prevent that from happening. My goal is to do this. I don't know why you need to make excuses. We could be the best, and we also need to rectify this. I don't know why people in power can't speak plainly about these things. If I saw a video where a person was licensed in my state, I'd say it's wrong, and I'll have a plan of action on how we can prevent that from happening in the future. Don't understand. We got a couple more clips. Two more stories, not a couple more clips. Let's get to Tucker Carlson. And I call him Carlson because I feel like that they'd say that we not America first. I think these fools are Qatarian first. I'm telling you, look at the stuff that they're doing. And then Tucker Carlson ended up getting called out because he's pushing an agenda. His hatred towards Israel and Jews forced him to say that Mossad is getting arrested in Qatar and stuff like that. It is not even true. They had to come out and correct this fool because he's so invested in something having to do with the Jews that he made up something. Here's a clip. Roll it.
I mean, look at that. You can't make this up. Tucker Carlson is now being debunked by Qatar themselves. Yeah, he claimed Mossad agents were caught plotting bombings in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Listen.
Saudi Aramco facility went up last night. The Iranians said they didn't do it. Why would they say they didn't do it? Possible Israel did it. It hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait.
Now here's what Doha News is reporting. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson says there is no information about any Israeli intelligence cells operating in the country. In other words, the government he referenced is denying it. That's the full story.
Y'all see what I'm saying about this Israel stuff? Why would he jump to that conclusion with no evidence? Here's an example of it from Al Jazeera, which is owned by Qatar. This is what Al Jazeera said. It says Qatar's, I don't know what FM means. I don't know what that means, but the spokesperson added that there's no information of Mossad cells operating in the country. This comes after U.S. broadcaster Tucker Carlson claimed that Qatar and Saudi Arabia had arrested individuals linked to Mossad. Why would you suggest that if there's no evidence of it? Even Al Jazeera, who would love to say something bad about Israel, is saying that there is no Qatar or no Mossad arrested. Why would he say that Israel wants Saudi Arabia down, the UAE down, all these things down, and when they sign an agreement together and they partner and recognize one another as a legitimate country, why would he add that in there if that's not even up for discussion at this point? Let's go to another Tucker Carlson clip. That's the only one we got? Oh, here's another fact that was brought to my attention, that if you lied or bared false or fake news in Qatar, the penal code would be you getting 5 years in prison. So I guess that after Tucker bought his house in Qatar, and when he go back to Qatar to go stay at his house, they probably should arrest him because he disseminated fake news. And I believe he did it intentionally to cause a rift or chaos between Qatar and Israel. You don't have to like Israel. You don't have to agree with everything they're doing. You could think they're fraudulent. But for you to make up a whole story about this is insane. The last 13 minutes I have of the show, I want to talk about real quick an historic event where we torpedoed a tanker. I don't know what you call this thing, but I'm going to let the experts talk about it. Come on, roll the clip.
An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death.
The sinking of an Iranian naval ship off the coast of Sri Lanka can be seen in heart-stopping video, in which a torpedo fired by an American submarine triggers a massive explosion that took down the vessel. According to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, this is the first time an enemy ship has been sunk by a torpedo since World War II. A single Mark 48 heavyweight torpedo was used in the strike, military officials said. Officials in Sri Lanka revealed that their Navy received information that Iran's Iris Dina warship, with 180 on board, was under distress off its southern coast, and that the island nation sent ships and Air Force planes on a rescue mission. So far, at least 32 people have been rescued and admitted to a hospital, with one being in critical condition, and at least 87 have died in the attack, as the search continues for more survivors, according to Sri Lanka officials. The vessel had already sunk by the time Sri Lanka's ships reached the location, leaving behind oil patches and life rafts, as well as people floating on the water, they said. The Iris, or Islamic Republic of Iran ship, was on its way back to Iran from an eastern Indian port after taking part in a recent naval exercise held in the Bay of Bengal. The Iris Dina was one of Iran's newest naval vessels. The frigate, a medium-sized warship, was equipped to carry one helicopter. It was armed with heavy guns, anti-ship missiles, and torpedoes. Military officials also spoke along Hegseth, detailing the dismantling of Iran's navy since Saturday, when the U.S.-Israel Operation Epic Fury began.
We've destroyed more than 20 Iranian naval vessels, including, in addition to the frigate outside of the area, one submarine, and effectively neutralized at this point in time Iran's major naval presence in theater out there.
All right, we got more clips from Pete Hegseth, but let me just say this because I think it's important. It's okay to criticize Israel if you have legitimate criticisms. I think that if somebody were to tell you can't, they're a nut job. But I want you to follow the track in what people are saying. You just heard our military personnel say that there was an attack coordinated America and Israel. They're our ally. We work war proxy through them. We provide $3.5 billion worth of military equipment to them. Of course, they're going to do our bidding. I don't know why people don't understand that. It's not that we do this on behalf of Israel. I would argue that we use Israel on behalf of the interests of the United States of America. This is why we fund all of their equipment, so we can tell them when to go and when not to go, as if we have another military base in the region. I'm telling you, this is how America operates. But when you don't like Israel, you think that little bitty country that really depends on the United States of America for their existence is somehow running us. The math ain't mathing. Pete Hegseth, roll it.
Last night, we sunk their prize ship, the Soleimani. Looks like POTUS got him twice. Their Navy, not a factor. Pick your adjective, it is no more. In fact, yesterday, in the Indian Ocean, and we'll play it on the screen there, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. And as President Trump said, more and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started. We are accelerating, not decelerating. Iran's capabilities are evaporating by the hour, while American strength grows fiercer, smarter, and utterly dominant. More bombers and more fighters are arriving just today.
And this is why it's not a war. This is why it's an American ally operation. It's not going to be a war like Afghanistan, Iraq. And this is why we support Donald Trump and why I have faith that he's going to utilize the military in the best interests of America. Roll the clip. We got 2 more clips left.
In a few days, in under a week, the 2 most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. I hope all the folks watching understand what uncontested airspace and complete control means. It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military, finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders, flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long. We're playing for keeps.
Does that not make you feel like a proud American? I don't know what y'all weenies doing out here, but this is what we do. You think these fighter pilots are training all day out here in Arizona and just for them to be looking cute and going on dates with women saying I'm a fighter pilot? They do it so they can go and take care of business when business needs to be taken care of. All right, roll the last clip. Roll it.
But I liken Iran's predicament to a football team who scripted the first 20 plays of a game. The team knew what plays to run because their first few drives were scripted. But now that the game has started and the blitz is on, they don't know what plays to call, let alone how to get in the huddle and call those plays. Iran's senior leaders are dead. The so-called governing council that might have selected a successor, dead, missing, or cowering in bunkers, too terrified to even occupy the same room. Senior generals, mid-level officers, enlisted ranks, they can't talk or communicate, let alone mount a coordinated and sustained offensive. That's not great for morale. The Iranian Air Force is no more, built for 1996, destroyed in 2026. The Iranian Navy rests at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Combat ineffective, decimated, destroyed, defeated, pick your adjective.
So I want to show y'all just a little bit of what we're doing operationally. P. Hegseth is a boss. I like his approach. I like his demeanor. That's America first. We told them they cannot have nuclear weapons, and they keep playing, so they found out the hard way. Like Kennedy said, they flipped the coin, won the coin toss, and chose to receive. So that's what you get. And I hope that we can be operational with minimal American lives lost. We're fighting for our freedom. I got one more story that I want to talk about. And this is one that's incredibly complicated, but I think it needs to be said. And this is the situation where the 12-year-old girl was assaulted by 4 boys or 3 boys, a 4th being a witness. I want to talk about this story because it's being publicized. People are saying all these different things, and I want to bring clarity and a little bit of a law enforcement angle to this and give you the totality of circumstances, especially since they're charging these 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and at the time the other one was a 14-year-old. They're charging them as adults. So I want you to hear the news clip of the totality of circumstances just real quick. I would explain, and then we're going to get a little bit from the defense and family members who are claiming that the boys did not do this and it was all made up. However, when you have a grand jury indictment, so much so that they are trying 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and a 14-year-old as adults, That, to me, is sufficient evidence that they have in their possession to believe that they can go with a charge this high and have a grand jury indict 12-year-olds as adults. So with that being said, we don't have all the information, but we have enough to believe that more than likely that these young boys did something incredibly heinous to that 12-year-old girl. But let's start at the top of the chart. Roll the clip on the totality of circumstances. Roll it.
It's not true. He's on trial.
That's the mother of 12-year-old Josiah Jones screaming at anyone who would listen after today's court hearing as her son faces charges as an adult in a case involving the rape of a 12-year-old girl.
I don't care if they get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years. Guess what? I'm going to always feel like as a mother, as a woman, I'm going to always feel like it's not enough.
The girl's mother speaking to Local 10 recently saying she just wants justice for her daughter. According to police, the girl was leaving a friend's home when she encountered the boys near a community garden in Overtown. Investigators allege 13-year-old Nelson Nunez raped her, while 12-year-old Josiah Jones and Xavier Tyson, who was 14 at the time, restrained her. Police say Jones put rocks in her mouth to stop her from screaming. All three boys are being charged as adults. The victim says it went on for about 30 minutes, and the boys stopped when they heard her father calling her name. In court today, attorneys for two of the three boys arrested in this case formally entered not guilty pleas, requested jury trials, and invoked discovery requiring prosecutors to turn over all evidence. They also argued their clients, Jones and Nunez, should not be in adult jail.
At this point, you have a 13-year-old kid sitting in jail, and me and I think my co-counsel, the lawyer for the co-defendant, we both will be fighting hard to get our clients out of jail.
As for Jones's father, he tells us the allegations against his son are not true.
A young black man that was visiting Miami and was with the wrong two kids, a 15 and a 14-year-old. My son is 12 years old and has a father that takes care of him. These allegations are bogus.
Now, we're going to hear from the auntie in a minute, but I want to articulate very clearly the perspective here. When you go to the court of law, these young boys are innocent until proven guilty. Now, in order for you to get indicted or in order for charges to be against you, you only have to have what they call probable cause. And that means that a reasonable police officer or a reasonable person in that situation with the evidence that's provided to them believe that this could have happened. That's when you get charged. Does that mean 100% the boys did exactly what was said that they did? The answer is no. We don't know exactly. However, there's a fourth boy that was a witness. And I think that young man's witness testimony is the primary reason that these boys were charged and they were tried as adults. You heard the dad say his kid was 12 at the time and he was just hanging out with the wrong crowd. However, if the witness is saying that his son was participating in any of the crimes that were committed, then therefore that's why his son is equally indicted. Could there be a case that the dad is telling the truth? And you're going to hear from Auntie in a minute of one of the boys. Could they be telling the truth? And that this young girl is exaggerating and making up stuff and that their boys weren't really doing what they are accused of doing? It is a possibility, but it's highly unlikely. And I think that there are cases that occur where young women lie. Even if, when I say this, because people are going to get mad at me, I'm saying in a circumstance where all of them are the same age. There could be a situation where somebody lies. They get caught doing something they're not supposed to do, and they make up stuff to get others in trouble. When you're talking about a person that's 18, 19, something, messing with somebody of that age, it don't matter what you say, you're wrong anyway. That 12-year-old can't consent. But when you're talking about people around the same age, there's possibilities that these young women fast. These young boys are fatherless, and they engage in sexual encounters at very young ages. And when I was growing up in middle school, people were doing this stuff in middle school during half days, running trains. Some of y'all know what a train is. The kids are doing this stuff at young ages. And that's for you can't just discount and say that, oh, you know, they pull her in the corner and take that as evidence. However, in this case, it appears that there's witnesses and there's overwhelming evidence that this could be the case. But I wanted to give a different perspective, play the clip of the father, and also here's the auntie. To me, she does not sound credible, But this is just the other side of the argument, because in the court of law, now that these boys have put in that they're not guilty, they're going to have a defense to say to some degree either they shouldn't be tried as adults or they didn't do it, which I think is an uphill battle at this point given the evidence that's presented. All right, roll the clip from Auntie. Roll it.
Spanish Honduran, he don't give a he's savage. So he like, you talk about you wanted to do this to me, you finna, do me like this. So I guess he got aggressive with her, and she was like, oh no, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna sleep with all of y'all. I'm only sleeping with him. So I guess whatever happened, while they was running the train on her, the lady who stayed upstairs.
Time out, sis. Hold on. Time out, sis. What are you saying here? You just said that the girl said, I'm not going to do that with all three of y'all. If that's what you're saying, sis, your nephew has just been implicated in a crime. Kidnapping, assault, and it was another charge that they got charged with. I think I had it on a piece of paper somewhere. But if she says she didn't want to do it, that means she didn't want to do it. And that means that if anybody else did anything outside of what she said she wanted to do, that means that that's assault. That's grape. What are you saying, sis? I'm going to let her finish because we got a couple more minutes. Roll it.
On her way down to check her mail, or you get what I'm saying, drop her garbage or whatever, she seen them. Because how the building is made, where the lady who seen the kids is like right there, and the farm is right there. So you can look over her balcony and see everything was going on in the farm. So I guess she spotted them. So in the mix of her spotted them, she like, what y'all doing in there? So that's when she want to yell, y'all stop. But she went home. She never told her mama anything. Going on 2 days. She never told her mama anything. When the lady came to find out who daughter it was, she went and told the stepdaddy. So when the lady told the stepdaddy, that's when the little girl want to tell her mama. They dragged her from the park, they took her there, and they raped her.
Time out, sis. That's not bizarre for a 12-year-old to be assaulted by other kids her age and not say anything. That's not some type of evidence or implication that somehow she made it up because she didn't say nothing initially. She probably was embarrassed. She probably felt ashamed. She probably didn't know how to say anything. She probably was afraid of these kids. That could be a possibility. So to me, that's a moot point for you to come on live stream and try to act like you're doing a justifiable job at, I guess, acquitting your nephew. He's wrong. He had no business doing it. I don't care if he was 12 or 13 years old. He was the same age. He had no business doing it. You said that the girl said she didn't want to do it. Somebody saw something going on where they told them to stop. She goes home, is brought up. She's providing evidence to law enforcement, and a witness, which was another kid at the scene, is confessing potentially to saying, I was there and I saw it. And the only reason that he didn't get charged because he didn't participate. But he said he saw it and he was afraid he was going to get jumped by the other boys if he intervened. All right. I don't need to hear nothing else from this lady because she sounds crazy as three left shoes. But just so you know, the auntie and the father are contesting if this happened, and it's sad. And I'm going to finish the last few minutes just telling you how unfortunate it is in the inner city communities that this is the type of crimes that occur to our young brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you this, I think it's more so in the black community than any other community that young women are taken advantage of, mostly by uncles and grown men. There's so much of this going on in the black community, and people don't want to stand up and say nothing. Instead, they're trying to make excuses for these boys acting a fool that grow up to become predators. And do I think they should be charged as adults? To be honest, a 12-year-old charged as an adult is I don't know exactly what information they have. If you putting rocks in a girl's mouth to stop her from screaming and holding her down and doing that to her and premeditated this behavior at a young age, that is depravity. And I don't know if you could come back from it. But I'm typically against a 12-year-old being charged as an adult. Now, of course, if it was my daughter, I want them to get the death penalty. But you have to look at the totality of circumstances, and 12-year-olds being charged as an adult is pretty much a death penalty for them because they go to prison, they get institutionalized, and they'll never change. They're just going to be worse if they ever get let out, to be honest. But as you guys know, I got about 3 minutes left in the show. If you're a member, join me after the show for the members only post-show clarity, and we'll talk about a bunch of other stuff. Normally what happens is all the things that are on my mind that I didn't get a chance to talk about during the show, I debrief it after the show, and it could be anything. We could be talking about my security guard, which we talked about yesterday in part. We could be talking about all kind of other stuff, but just join me if you want to join the conversation afterwards. Make sure you go on and get you some verdict. We're about to sell out again, and coming soon, we're going to have signed. Well, I don't know if we're going to do it soon. We may not have the signed bottles yet. We may wait a little bit, but we do have signed bottles that we're keeping stockpiled, and they're only for the verdict aficionados, people who love verdict and want to be a part of history. And that is some of the bottles that we had in our first batch are signed. You can't get them anywhere. The only way you're going to get them is if we make them available, and we're going to do that for members. We're going to do that for people who have already purchased first before we open it up to the public. So shout out to Verdict Bourbon. Incredible. This Friday, we're going to launch our first restaurant, or launch at our first restaurant. Make sure if you need help sleeping or if you want energy, go to Shenergylife.com, Shenergylife.com. And if you want to support influencers and others who cannot afford security, they cannot afford education and training on law enforcement, or not law enforcement, but on some of these threat levels that matter. If you want to support, go to Black Lion Guardian Fund tax-exempt donations. So you can get a tax credit. We'll send you your form. You can write it off. But be a help of change by going to blacklionguardianfund.com. So all the members, if you're a member, if you're not a member, join. Meet me on the other side at post-show clarity, all right? So I'll see y'all over on the other side. I got to run to the restroom real quick. God bless you. God bless America. Y'all hold the phone.